I'm Vic Myers. Welcome to The Resistance.
This video has been heavily censored to avoid triggering the algorithm's content filters.
First, let me say thank you to Afton Bain and everybody who worked on her campaign. You didn't lose an election. You laid the groundwork for a 2026 victory. And let me know when that campaign is official, because I want to be the first person to donate to Afton Bain 2026. The worst thing about the final numbers is obviously that Afton didn't win. The third worst thing about the final numbers is that the voters in Tennessee 7 were foolish enough to believe that sending another MAGA tool to Washington is going to miraculously benefit them. I reckon by the time November rolls around, they'll be ready to enthusiastically correct that mistake. The second worst thing about the final numbers is that it took less than 12 hours for the consultant class, the so-called moderate or centrist losers of the Democratic Party, to blame Afton Bain for the loss. In the words of Lene Erickson of the Third Way think tank, also known as Wall Street's best friend in the Democratic establishment, Afton is a far-left candidate and a self-declared radical who alienated voters in the middle. Way to go, consultant class. You could be helpful and recognize that Afton Bain took a district that just 1 year ago was lost by 21 points and cut that margin by more than half. You could recognize that Afton Bain is the clear frontrunner to be the Democratic nominee for this seat with a primary only 9 months away. You could be helpful. Instead, you chose to push your Republican-like propaganda in hopes that the Tennessee Democrats and Democrats across the country will ignore the Wall Street fingerprints all over your messaging and nominate more do-nothing Dems next year. How about we look at the moderate Democrat who lost this seat just over a year ago? You know, a centrist. Not only was she not competitive, losing by 21 points, she didn't force any extra effort or spending by the Republican Party. But Afton Bain, she had the MAGA army mobilizing like their lives depended on it. Billionaires rushed in. Trump's PAC, MAGA Inc., spent money on this race. First time they've ever spent money on a race. They threw everything they had at her. They treated her like a real threat because she absolutely is. And did I mention that the previous candidate, that moderate, that centrist, pled guilty in 2018 to felony theft of property? You centrist third-way DC consultant parasites would rather nominate a moderate felon with zero chance of winning than say anything supportive about a Democrat like Afton Bain. Because you will do absolutely anything your Wall Street donors tell you to do. And you know what, Lene Erickson of the Third Way think tank? Whenever your name shows up in a story, I will automatically picture you bent over a strategy table taking dictation from the donor class. Thanks for listening. Good day.